والجنة للموحدين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيبنا الممجد أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد
وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم وغاصب حقوقهم وقاتليهم أجمعين. أما بعد، فقال الإمام عليه السلام: اللهم اجعل محياي محيا محمد وآل محمد ومماتي ممات محمد وآل محمد. صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد.
The sentence, these two sentences which I don't know if reciting in front of you, can be found in Zat Ashura, in which we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah guide us on the path of the Holy Prophet as Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and his holy progeny. And to take our lives, if we were to die, then we die on the path of the Holy Prophet as Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and his holy progeny. These two sentences in itself is enough for every heart. That when we raise our hands, our heart, these are the only two sentences we ever need to ask. That if we are to live on this earth, we live according to the teaching of the Holy Prophet and his progeny, and if we were to die, then we die on the same path. During the holy month of Muharram, we've been commemorating the martyrdom of the grandson of the Holy Prophet, H.T.I, and his family members. Through the events of Karbala, every age group, every single creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is able to take lessons. And through those lessons, we are able to correct not just our present and future, but also our past. Now, if you look, those who were in Karbala, who were present with the Imam, were there as free human beings. Not that they were under orders. No, you've all heard the incident where, on the night of Ashur, Islam darkened the tent and said that those who wish to leave, they can leave. And it does not matter. But how many people left? Today, the sound of cry of my Islam, that is there anyone to help me, still echoes today. The difference is that this cry now relates to the Imam of our time. The answer to Al Nasir is Labbaik Ya Hussein. That, oh Imam, we are prepared for you, we are ready for you. But the question arises that how many of us are truly willing to stop everything and sacrifice everything if the Imam was to reappear tomorrow? All of us present here will say that, or at one stage or another have always said that if I was present in Karbala, I would have given everything for the Imam. That still exists today, but with the Imam of our time. If the Imam of our time was to reappear tomorrow, how many of us will stop everything that we are doing and go and join with the Imam? This is one of the biggest lessons that we can take from Karbala. That from Karbala we learn how to sacrifice everything that we have for the sake of our Imam, for the Imam of our time. But the reality is, how many of us are willing to change? How many of us are willing to adapt ourselves accordingly? Now it needs 10 days of Muharram or 2 months and 9 days of commemoration. How many of us have changed ourselves? How many of us are willing to change ourselves accordingly? So that we can truly say that I am a follower of the Imam. Muharram is the new month of the first month of the new year. There is a Western tradition, which is the New Year's resolution. On the 1st of December, all Westerners will sit down and say that for this coming year, my New Year's resolution is such and such. These 10 days of Muharram can be the same for us. That in these 10 days of Muharram, my resolution should be what? That I live my life according to the teachings of the Ahlul BAYTAL. That is the only thing we need. If we wish to be successful both in this world and in the hereafter, there's only one path that we can follow. And that is the path of the Ahlul Bayt. There's no other path that we should be following. Unfortunately, in today's society, our lifestyles are like Dr. Jekyll and Hyde. That we have divided, separated our lives. One is that life which has nothing to do with my religion. That is, for example, when I'm in school, university, when I'm at work, nothing is related to my religion. But in the evening, when I go to the mosque, when I stand up for namaz, that is a completely different aspect. When in fact, both lives should be in line with the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt. Even in our workplaces, act from the Islamic point of view. How many of us, when we are doing business transactions or anything, how many of us think from the Islamic point of view? How many of us think that, what has Islam told me about this? Islam is a complete way of life. Islam has taught us everything, from basic manners and etiquette to business values, educational values, everything. All we have to do is research it. Study Islam, and we'll find an answer to all of our problems today. Every single problem that we face today, Islam has an answer for. Even medicine, our health issues. Islam has answers for it. You study the medicine of the Ahlul Bayt. Study how and what we should be doing so that we become better human beings. The sole purpose of Islam is so that we become better human beings. If you study the Quran, the message of the Quran, what is in the Quran? Quran is history. They are stories of the past. What do we learn from it? The mistakes of the past, so that we can correct our present and our future. That is the Quran. If we are to study the Quran in the correct manner. But how many of us actually study the Quran from that point of view? How many of us in this hall today have studied the whole Quran with translation, with understanding? We have a tradition in our society that the only times we'll actually pick up the Quran and read it is if someone dies in the family, or in the holy month of Ramadan, where it is highly recommended that we complete the Holy Quran. Majority of the time, these are the only 2 times that we pick up the Quran and study it. But today, I believe every single person has a smartphone. How many people sitting in this hall have downloaded the Quran on their phones? With numerous translations, not just one translation, but numerous translations in that app. Why don't we do this? Rather than me trying to finish the whole Quran in the whole month of Ramadan, try this in Ramadan. Rather than me reading 1 chapter a day over a period of 30 days, why don't I read 1 page a day? But that 1 page, I read it with translation. So that I'm able to understand what the Quran is trying to tell me. هذا حديث أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب عليه السلام. Where it says that if you wish to speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then recite the namaz. And if you wish Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to speak with you, then recite the Holy Quran. Now imagine our Creator wishes to speak with us. That form is there, the Holy Quran is available. And how many of us read it? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our creator, that being that all of us must at one point or another return to. He wishes to speak to us. How many of us read the Quran from that point of view? The Quran today is a living miracle. Two examples. One is that the Quran is the most sold book in the world. And second, it is the most translated book in the world. If that is not a miracle, then what is it? What is? Then through this Quran, Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world today. Right? If you were to understand the Holy Quran, what is the Holy Quran? The Quran today is the poetry of the Ahlul Bayt. Every ayat, every surah is related to the Ahlul Bayt. Right? If you wish to understand that, you must have the love of the Ahlul Bayt. How many people are there today that have memorized the Holy Quran, but they have no love towards the Ahlul Bayt? That's one example. The other is those who have studied the Holy Quran, they have memorized the Holy Quran, and at the same time they have the love of the Ahlul Bayt. The biggest mistake of the Muslims was that they said that the Quran is enough words. Today, 1400 years on, we understand that the Quran is not enough words. Because with the Quran, we need the Ahlul Bayt. And at the same time, there are numerous in our society who say that the Ahlul Bayt are enough, we don't need the Quran. And in fact, we need both in equal measure. Because those aspects of the Holy Quran which you are not able to understand, study the Ahlul Bayt and you will understand the Quran. And vice versa. Those aspects of the Ahlul Bayt which you are not able to understand, study the Quran and you will understand. But there are numerous aspects of the Quran which relate directly to the Ahlul Bayt. Yet the Muslims don't study from that point. They're trying to bring in other personalities. In fact, they try and mock the Holy Prophet. My opinion is that those who weep for Imam Hussein Islam, those who remember Imam Hussein Islam, will never end up in hell. But those who do end up in hell at the same time as mourning for Imam Hussein Islam, they have made a mockery of this religion. That is, due to ignorances that is coming into our society, especially in these months. Those ignorances that we bring into our societies during these months. This is us making a mockery of the Ahlul Bayt. This is us making a mockery of our religion. Karbala itself is enough. The name of our Hussein Islam is enough to bring tears to our eyes. Right? At the same time, we have to study the Ahlul Bayt. What was the message of Karbala? Is it enough for me to say that? I came for the 10 years of Muharram, I wept for Imam Hussein Islam in the Holy Progeny, I beat my chest, and that is enough? All of us today, our one wish is to go and do the ziyarat of Imam Hussein Islam. All of our wishes is to go and visit Karbala. But with us going there, you must understand that Imam Hussein Islam wants something back from us. And that is that we live our life according to their teachings. That is what Imam Hussein Islam wants from us. Those of us who will be going to Karbala, those of us who have been to Karbala, know that our ziyarat of Imam Hussein Islam is useless, is worthless, if we come back and don't practice according to this religion. Imam Hussein Islam sacrificed his family members so that today, 1400 years on, we, the lovers of the Ahlul Bayt, could practice his religion correctly. Not that we make a mockery of his religion, and whatever aspects of religion we like, we accept, and those aspects of religion we do not like, you don't want to say that? I don't accept. accept this. There are a lot of youth trying to say that, why do I need to be taqleed? It's a controversial issue. It's a hot issue. Now, why do I need to be taqleed? You must understand that taqleed basically means to follow. We do taqleed in every aspect of our life. If my mother tells me to do something, I'm doing her taqleed. If I go to the doctor with a sickness and he prescribes me medication, that is me doing the taqleed of the doctor. Whatever the doctor tells me, I act upon, that is me doing taqleed of the doctor. At that time, I don't have no issues. But all of a sudden, when it comes to my religion, I have an issue. Because what does someone sitting in Iraq or Iran know about me living in this country? You must understand that. Throughout our whole lives, how many GPs do we have? I only have one GP. And that GP I'll go to fair some of the time. Why? Because I have full belief in that GP. That I know that this GP knows more about my body than I do. Therefore, I go to him. Therefore, whatever he tells me, I will act upon. Our Maraja are there for the exact same reason. That they have spent their whole life studying Islam, studying religion, so that they can simplify Islam for us. They're not there to make our lives difficult. They're there to simplify religion for us. Why? Because we do not have that knowledge, so I'm able to extract Islamic law from the Quran and the hadith of the Ahlul Bayt. If I had that knowledge, taqleed is haram upon me. Yet at the same time, it's not even that simple. To be a marja, to be an ayatollah, you must have power, control over 18 different subjects before you're able to even derive Islamic law from the tradition of the Ahlul Bayt. And people today say that, I've read the Quran, I can study the hadith of the Holy Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt, why do I need to follow? Another way, another understanding of following a marja is so that if on the day of judgment you're told that this act of worship that you were doing is incorrect, you can turn around and say that I did not study Islam. I was not a specialist in religion. I followed someone who was a specialist. He told me to act on this in this manner, therefore I follow him. Yet, we have issues over, we make issues out of non-issues. Why? Because certain aspects of religion, I'm not able to understand, I'm not able to comprehend, therefore, I won't accept it. That there is no compulsion within religion. One aspect of this ayah is that you cannot force anyone to become Muslim. Second aspect is that once you have accepted Islam, you must accept everything which has been laid down within the framework of Islam. It's the same. When you go to sign at the bank for mortgage or for a loan, what's the first thing that you do? You read the fine print. In that fine print, there may be certain clauses which you do not like. Yet you still end up signing the paperwork. Why? Because in your opinion, you sign the greater good. For the greater good. For example, you might become the owner of a household, that lump sum loan that you needed will be given to you. But one of the clauses that I really like was, for example, the rate of return is too high. Yet you still signed it. Because at that time, it is what was needed. The same. Islam, you may not like certain aspects within Islam. But the reason why you do not like those certain aspects in Islam is because we are not able to understand it. If we were to raise our knowledge, if we were to raise our intellect in the field of Islam, we'll be able to understand then, we'll accept it wholeheartedly. You know, the major issue is of hijab today. Yeah, at the same time that the hijab of women is wajib, the hijab of men is also wajib. What is the hijab of men? To lower our gaze. But majority of the males, they're trying to say that the sister does not do hijab or her hijab is incorrect or the way she dresses is not Islamic. And at that time, what was your responsibility? At that time, my responsibility was that I should have lowered my gaze. Islam is an equal religion. Islam is the only religion which has given women equal rights. No other religion today has given women rights the way Islam has. For example, Islam gave women rights to vote 49 years ago. The event of Ghadir is an example, where the women pledged their allegiance to Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib al-Islam. Islam, Bibi Khadija sallallahu alayhi, 1400 years ago was known as Malikatul Arab, the Queen of Arabia, through her businesses. At that time, the West was still living in the Dark Ages. Women at that time were able to purchase their own properties. I'll give an example. In the UK, women were not able to purchase their own houses up until after World War I. In Switzerland, women were not allowed to vote until 1970s. This is Europe. And they come and tell us that we as Muslims, we don't give women rights. Why? Because they've seen certain people who are Muslims and how they have mistreated their women. They studied the Ahlul Bayt in Islam. Study the women of the Ahlul Bayt. Karbala teaches us the power of women. Look at Bibi Zainab sallallahu alayhi. That short period on Shah Ghaliba, when Imam Zayn al-Abidin al-Islam was unconscious on his bed. That short period where Bibi Zainab sallallahu alayhi handled imamat. That in itself tells us the level of women that women hold in our lives, in our religion. Yet, do we propagate this? Oh, those people who come, you must have all seen the programs that come on TV nowadays. The Real Wives of ISIS or rubbish like that on the TV. People are flocking to watch it. Yet, if we were to make a documentary on the life of Fatima Zahra sallallahu if we were to make a biography on the life of Bibi Khadija sallallahu alayhi. So, if we were to make a biography on the life of Bibi Zainab sallallahu alayhi and propagate that these are the women of Islam. These are those women who protected Islam. These are those women who advocated Islam and the correct teachings of Islam. Not what is shown today in the media. Now we propagate the Ahlul Bayt of Islam. We have a responsibility towards the Ahlul Bayt. Now how do we wish the Ahlul Bayt of Islam to be introduced? The best way to introduce the Ahlul Bayt is through our mannerisms. Through our behavior, how we treat others. Unfortunately, in our society now, the Islamic identity or the Shia identity is lanat. That if I don't have the same ideology as you, I'll send lanat upon you, I'll curse you. When in fact, the Islamic identity, our Shia identity, should be the teaching of the Ahlul Bayt of Islam. How did the Ahlul Bayt of Islam greet their enemies? The first three usurped the right of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib for not a small time, for a period of 23 years approximately. Yet, how did Amir al-Mu'mineen treat him? He treated him in such a way that the son of Khalifa said, "Lawla Ali la halaka Umar." That had it not been for Ali, Umar would have died. What was it that Imam Ali alayhi salam done that forced the second Khalifa to make the statement? That's the one aspect we need to look at. That how did Amir al-Mu'mineen treat those who have taken his rights? Karbala teaches this as well. That when the black slave came to survey the head of Islam, the Imam looked at him and said, "You remind me so much of my grandfather's Mu'adhin Bilal. It is time for namaz, have you prayed your namaz?" That black slave, hearing this from someone who is on his deathbed, started to weep. That who am I killing? That even in his deathbed he is reminding me of my responsibility towards Islam. These are our Imams. These are those personalities who all of us should have as our role models. If we keep Ahlul BAYTAL as our role models, the least we will become, we will never become like the Ahlul Bayt. But if we keep them as our role models, the least we will become is Salman al-Farsi. The least we will become is Miqdad. The least that we will become is Abu Dharr al-Ghafari. That these companions of the Ahlul Bayt were like me and you, normal human beings. But they understood who the Ahlul Bayt were and sacrificed everything for them. And the reward that they were given was that they remembered today 1400 years ago. Now 1400 years, the companions of the Ahlul Bayt are remembered and are shown that respect. This is the gift that you're given. This is the blessing that you're given. If you sacrifice everything for the Ahlul Bayt. You have the Maradi, study history. The scholars who gave everything for Islam, how are they being remembered today? Why? Because whatever they've done for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The compiler of the Nahj al-Balagha, Syed Razavi. He's only known today for his Nahj al-Balagha. When in fact he's written the biographies of all 14 of the Ma'asumeen. He's written a history of Islam. Yet the only book he's remembered for today is the compilation of the Nahj al-Balagha. When people ask him, why is it that you only remembered for this, even though this isn't your work? All you've done is compile letters and sermons and sermons on Amir al-Mu'mineen. So Razavi replies that the reason is that these books which I have written, the biographies of the Ahlul Bayt, the history of Islam and such, is I've done it for my own fame. And the Nahj al-Balagha which I compiled was purely for the sake of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. In the compilation of the Nahj al-Balagha, I had no personal ego involved. I done everything purely for the Ahlul Bayt of Islam. And the reward is that he's remembered for that book today. That the whole world knows who the compiler of the Nahj al-Balagha is. Muslims and non-Muslims alike. Yet how many other books have said, "Lord, you're famous"? None. These are modern day. These are those people who are like me and you. They have changed their lives for the betterment. Purely because whatever they've done for the Ahlul Bayt of Islam. Let's look towards Karbala. There's one lesson that we can all take from, and that is the lesson of loyalty. Taught to us by Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. Now from the day he was born, he only had eyes for Muhammad. That everything he done was in line with the teaching of Muhammad. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas knew that he was the answer to the dua of Mawali. And I want to send, we will be present to protect the grandson of the Holy Prophet on the day of Ashura. Abu Fadl Abbas grew up knowing this, that he would have to sacrifice his life for Imam Hussein. He was always ready for battle. Abu Fadl Abbas was to Imam Hussein what Imam Ali was to the Holy Prophet. When we study that, there was no difference. The similarity between Imam Ali and Abu Fadl Abbas are too great. Yet there is one difference which I see. That is that under the flag of Amir al-Mu'mineen, every Muslim gathered. But under the banner of Abu Fadl Abbas, there were only 72 faithful bodies. That is the difference I see. Under the banner of Amir al-Mu'mineen, you had the Munafiq, you had the Muslims, everyone. Yet under the banner of Abu Fadl Abbas, there were only 72. We sacrificed everything for Allah. Yet there came a time when Abu Fadl Abbas is hearing the sound of Al-Tash, or being sitting at He comes to Imam Hussein, says, "Oh Imam, give me permission to go into the battlefield. If not, then at least give me permission to go to the Euphrates so that I'm able to collect water and quench the thirst of Sakina." Imam Hussein finally relented and gave Abu Fadl Abbas the permission to go. Yet when he did give the permission, he said, "Oh Abbas, do not take your sword. You can take the spear only to defend yourself." Abu Fadl Abbas put down his sword, took the spear and went into the battlefield. As he's going towards the Furat, the enemy see that Abu Fadl Abbas is coming, they all fled. Abu Fadl Abbas reaches the Furat. He fills up the water. And as he's coming back, the enemy strike, first from the right, then from the left. They strike off his hands to such an extent where Abu Fadl Abbas is holding the water carrier in his mouth. Yet there comes a time where Umar Saad says that make sure that this water does not reach the camp of Imam Hussein. Seeing as the enemy threw an arrow towards the water mark, as soon as the water mark and the water started to rip out, Abu Fadl Abbas gave the orders to his horse. Now stop, take me back towards the far. I promised Sakina water, yet I'm not able to fulfill my promise. As he goes back, he's struck with an arrow in his eye. As he falls out, he cries out, falls down, he cries out, "Assalamu alaikum ya Aba." Imam Hussein, hearing this cry, goes running towards the battlefield. When he reaches Hazrat Abbas, he sees that Abbas is lying on the floor. He raises the head of Hazrat Abbas and puts him on his legs. And says, "Oh Abbas, I have one last wish. And that is that your whole life you have only called me your master. I have one wish, and that is that you call me your brother. That is my last wish. That is the only order that I give you. After that, you are free." Hearing this, Abu Fadl Abbas, with his last breath, said, "Assalamu alayka, ya akhi. My salams be upon you, my brother. Inna Allah wa inna alayhi raji'un, badan bi qada'i wa tasliman li amrih. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma anqil ala ahli qulub as-sudur. Allahumma aghfir kull faqir. Allahumma ashfi kull ja'ir. اللهم ارزق كل عريان، اللهم اقض دين كل مدين، اللهم فرج عن كل مكروه، اللهم رد كل غريب، اللهم فك كل اسير، اللهم اصلح كل فاسد من امور المسلمين، اللهم اشف كل مريض، اللهم صد فقرنا لغناك، اللهم غير سوء حالنا بحسن حالك، اللهم اقض عنا الدين واغننا من